All right, YouTube, we are here as you can tell from the title. What happened to the people on famous album covers? It was just a recommendation, and I'm interested in watching it, and I know you are too because you clicked on the video. But without further ado, I'll hop into it.
Players and streaming for decades. These album covers have been solidified as timeless classics in music's history. But have you ever wondered, what's the story behind these images? And what happened to the people behind them? Okay. From the baby on Nevermind to the bikini-clad girl in Around the Fur. Today we're tracking down the real people behind the covers that define generations and finding out where they are now.
Fear not.
Nirvana, Nevermind.
Nevermind.
Becoming a cultural phenomenon in the early 90s.
That's the Blue album, if I'm not mistaken.
Nirvana's Nevermind shook the alternative rock world. As one of the most recognizable covers, the record shows a nude baby swimming with a dollar bill dangling on a fishing hook ahead of him. Lead singer and guitarist Kurt Cobain at the time had recently watched a TV program on water births, bringing the idea of using water birth imagery to Nirvana's next album, an idea which was immediately shot down by art director Robert Fisher. After multiple discussions, the band agreed on a photo of a swimming baby as an alternative.
Oh, wow.
Unfortunately, the label, unwilling to pay $7,500 for the chosen stock image, instead hired photographer Kirk Weddle for the task. Known for specializing in photography of submerged humans, Weddle hired multiple sets of parents to lend their babies as subjects for the shoot. Taking turns, the parents passed their babies between each other at the Pasadena Aquatic Center. The chosen subject was Spencer Eldon, the child of Weddle's friends Kim and Rick Eldon, who were paid $200 for the photo shoot. Eldon, seeing this in his later years, felt that he was exploited for use of his body on the cover, filing a lawsuit in 2021 against Cobain's estate and former bandmates.
2021?
Along with Weddle, Universal Music, Geffen Records, Warner Records, and MCA Music. Eldon sought $150,000 in damages from each defendant, along with legal fees. The Central District Court in California dismissed Eldon's suit, ruling that he'd waited too long to file. The judge cited the law's statute of limitations, which requires a child sexual exploitation victim to bring a claim either 10 years after they discover the violation or injury against them, or 10 years after they turn 18, with Eldon doing neither. The lawsuit was then refiled and thrown out again, as the judge stated the photo was not created with any provocative nature, supporting that Eldon's parents agreed to the shoot, they were friends with the photographer, and they knew the context of the photo's creation did not have any explicit intention. Deftones, Around the Fur.
Of the girl.
1997's sophomore effort, Around the Fur, solidified Deftones as a staple within the alternative metal world. An easily tied association with this album was its notable cover, featuring a straight-down fisheye close-up of a bikini-clad girl with a flower tattoo around her navel. At the time, Deftones vocalist Chino Moreno and guitarist Steph Carpenter were into skateboarding and BMX, hiring skate photographer Rick Cossack, who worked with skate mags like Slap and Big Brother, eventually becoming a cameraman for wildly popular MTV series Jackass, Nitro Circus, and Wild Boys.
I never knew that.
Cossack, after shooting Deftones in their Seattle studio during the recording of Around the Fur, decided to join an after-hours party the band was throwing at their apartment complex. Around 4 a.m., Cossack noticed a woman hanging out in the jacuzzi, snapping only a singular photo of the girl who had particularly caught his eye. The involuntary model was Lisa Hughes. Initially taken back by the action of someone pushing a camera in her face and snapping a photo of her cleavage, she would later receive a call from Carpenter, agreeing that the photo could be used on the album. Moreno, who spoke about the cover in 2016 to Kerrang, mentioned that he actually hated the photo. At the time, we all lived in an apartment complex and were partying every night. We were at the hot tub one time, and this was just a random shot that somehow we picked as the cover. In the original, Frank's in the hot tub next to her, so we photoshopped him out of it.
But it's tough. The album cover is actually tough, and I like the cover. I'm not gonna lie, I like it. It just, I don't know how to explain it. Like it just fits the album, and I do like that album a lot. Every song on that album. I do like that new album too. Private Music. Private Music hits. It hits. It slaps, bro. Deftones just doesn't. They do not miss for real.
We were all married at the time, so how do we explain to our wives that we're in a hot tub with these chicks? Hughes still resides in Washington and has a happy career in the medical field. A fan of Deftones to this day, her favorite albums are Around the Fur, White Pony, and Adrenaline.
Adrenaline? Okay.
Korn, self-titled.
I don't know this.
When Korn set out to release their first album, they likely didn't know that the entire genre of nu metal would forever be associated with their name. The cover of the self-titled release depicting a young girl on a swing next to an elongated shadowy figure. In the mid-90s, the cover resulted in quite a bit of controversy, parents believing the band was advocating for child abduction or assault, as the back cover of the album depicts the same scene with a now empty swing. The true intention of the image was to evoke reaction, a mission which definitely served.
I will listen to any Korn album. I listen to a lot of different albums. I don't know. I like getting put onto new music. You know what I'm saying? So if anybody could let me know what is probably the top 5 songs on this album, just to ease me into the rest of the songs, I would appreciate it.
Cover of the album depicts the same scene with a now empty swing. The true intention of the image was to evoke reaction, a mission which definitely served its purpose. Jonathan Davis, frontman of Korn, did not shy away from lyrical content regarding these themes, using bullying and child abuse derived from his own personal experiences, attempting to provide resolve for others that may have gone through similar circumstances. The girl in the photo used on the album cover is Justine Ferrara, the niece of Paul Pontius, who signed Korn to their first label, Immortal Records. At the age of 6, she was paid $300 for the photo shoot, the recollection of the process being overwhelmingly positive. The shadowy figure depicted beside her was Dante Ariola, the co-director of the photo shoot, whose spooky elongated fingers were the result of the sun being low in the sky, allowing longer shadows to be cast. Ferrara also revealed that once Korn began to get famous, her parents became worried that she would be recognized by fans, and that the family would possibly get into trouble with their daughter's school, whose uniform was used for the shoot. Luckily, the family received no ill will from the school, with Ferrara graduating from New York University in 2009. Although she would go on to have a career in the entertainment industry at Sony, and now Disney, she admits to not being a fan of Korn's music.
Wow, not being a fan.
Blink-182, Enema of the State. Before landing on the name for their most popular release to date, Blink-182 were tossing around titles like Turn Your Head and Cough, OBGYN Kenobi, Vasectomy, and Vasecto-You. Based on these themes, they were mutually set on the idea for the album to feature a sultry nurse. The record label provided a collection of models to choose from, ultimately moving forward with Janine Lindemulder. Lindemulder sports an open nurse's outfit.
I've seen his album
in the process of snapping on blue nitrile gloves, and nodded the previous title, Turn Your Head and Cough, something a doctor would usually ask when conducting a hernia test. On the back cover, she readies a large syringe for the crew, preparing them for an injection, also appearing in the music videos for What's My Age Again and Man Overboard. The original pressings of Enema of the State featured a red cross on the nurse's uniform. However, the global organization Red Cross told Blink that it was illegal for anyone else to use the symbol. If they decided to move forward with the cross on the cover, it would be a violation of the Geneva Convention, or the laws for humanitarian treatment. The band then swiftly changed the image before legal action took place. Lindemulder was a well-known adult entertainment star, which was unknown to the band during the shooting process. Soon after the release, she left the industry to raise her son and planned to become a school teacher. In 2002, she married West Coast Choppers founder Jesse James. What followed were accusations of domestic violence, cheating, and a divorce while 7 months pregnant with a daughter. In between stints in adult entertainment, reports of jail for tax evasion, and a spell in rehab, Lindemulder has moved on to Oregon, seeking a clean path moving forward. Alice in Chains, Dirt.
I listened to them as well.
Grunge metal legends Alice in Chains had early releases wrapped in heaviness and alienation. The band collectively having the idea that their next album would need to showcase grit, arriving on the theme of a woman pictured dead or alive, half buried in the desert. Photographer Rocky Schenk would convey these themes on the cover for their second album, 1992's Dirt. Rather than shoot in an actual desert, Schenk chose to build one in a studio, where he could modify the environment as he saw fit. He painted the sky backdrop, constructed miniature mountains and the desert floor from foam core and clay, slipping model Mariah O'Brien into a cutout section at the center of the piece. O'Brien had previously worked with Shanks on the cover for parody band Spinal Tap's Bitch School, and had also been featured in Ozzy Osbourne's No More Tears music video a year prior. An interior designer, actress, and model, O'Brien would go on to have minor roles in TV and film through the 90s and mid-2000s, appearing in films such as Halloween, The Curse of Michael Myers, and Being John Malkovich, as well as hit TV series such as Buffy the Vampire Slayer and Charmed.
Wow.
Godsmack, self-titled.
I don't know this.
Staying on the alternative metal train is Godsmack's 1998 self-titled debut. The notable album cover showcased an alternative orange-haired woman with multiple facial piercings by the name of Tony Tiller. The original image dates back to 1994, where at the time, Tiller was a club kid in the streets of New York City. For those that may not know, club kids were a New York subculture group that embraced DIY fashion, creative self-expression, and a party-centric lifestyle during the late 80s to mid-90s. Meeting photographer Dale May in Brooklyn, the image was taken for his color theory project while in his senior year at Parsons School of Design. Years later, May would connect with Sully Erna, the vocalist and rhythm guitarist of Godsmack, choosing the original photo from his portfolio, eventually being at the forefront of the self-titled album. Nowadays, Tony can be found living in the woods, sporting a shaved head, and into meditation, strange objects, cooking, esoteric studies, and artsy crap, as she referred to it. In her spare time, she also has a reform school for rude kittens. Pink Floyd, Wish You Were Here. An album that has gone down in history as one of the greats, Pink Floyd's Wish You Were Here showcases art that defines absence. UK design studio Hipgnosis had co-creators Storm Thurgerson and Aubrey Poe Powell taking the reins for the project. Hipgnosis, known for working with giants in the music industry such as Led Zeppelin, AC/DC, and Genesis. The team found the inspiration that they needed from the third track on the album, Have a Cigar, which slighted industry heads in their pursuance of money over creative purpose. The album's iconic cover features two men standing across from one another, one being on fire.
Yeah.
The point being to show an absence of true feelings, out of the fear of getting burned in their business deal. Longtime stuntman Ronnie Rondell Jr. was the man depicted on fire. As this was an era well before CGI, the shot required Rondell to really be set ablaze. The stunt proved to be an unpleasant one, as Rondell had to engage in 15 takes of the shot. On the 15th take, a gust of wind blew the fire straight into his face, burning off an eyebrow and part of his mustache. His team acted with haste, spraying him with extinguishing foam and saving his life before things got perilous. Rondell would go on to have a long and successful career in the film industry, doing stunts for notable films such as Matrix Reloaded, The Karate Kid, Speed, and Lethal Weapon. Awarded a Lifetime Achievement honor at the Taurus World Stunt Awards in 2004, Ronnie was known for being a gracious and considerate person to others around him. Sadly, on August 12, 2025, he would pass at the age of 88.
This year? Damn. 88? I mean, RIP, man. Actually, RIP. RIP Ronnie, yeah. Actually. At least he lived, I'm pretty sure he lived a very well life, you know what I'm saying? 88 years old, you know, in 2025. And he achieved those things? Like, bro, that is aura, that is motion. I'm not gonna lie, that's Mr. Emotion Man over here, bro.
Black Sabbath, self-titled. Black Sabbath's self-titled album started a design aesthetic and image that the band would be known for moving forward. Keith McMillan would be the vision behind the cover art, bringing dry ice, fog machines, a taxidermy crow, and even a black cat to the shoot for getting the right vibe. Shot in the early morning at Maple Durham Watermill in Oxfordshire, England. The star of the image was a mysterious figure cloaked in black standing alone in the mist.
Yeah.
For years, a mystery surrounding the identity of the figure remained unsolved. Some believed it to be Ozzy, others claimed it was a real witch. More than 50 years later, Rolling Stone would release an interview with the model of the shoe, Louisa Livingston. Livingston recalled being tasked to wear the black cloak with nothing underneath it, exploring more risque shots that ultimately didn't evoke the mood they were going for. Working throughout the morning, the pair arrived on the proper image for the album's release. Livingston had a career in the arts, with stage performances at the National Theatre in London, acting in various plays such as Lark Rise to Candleford. After her modeling and acting career, she moved into the realm of experimental electronic music, under the name Indreba. She admits that Black Sabbath just isn't her kind of music, stating to Rolling Stone, "I feel awful for saying it, because it's probably not what people want to hear, but it isn't particularly my kind of music. When I got the album, I gave it a listen.
That's okay.
And moved on."
That's okay. That's okay.
So, what stories behind album covers are your favorites? Let me know in the comments section as I respond to everyone. If you enjoyed this video, a like or sub would go a long way. We drop music-related content of all sorts every Wednesday. Until then, I'll see you next time.
Man, he be cooking. He cooks.
On the Sabbath cover, but never like Sabbath? Holy sh**.
That's what I'm saying, bro. What? Like, that is a huge L. Dead ass. There's no way. I mean, I don't want to get on this lady's case, but there's no way you got the opportunity to be on a Black Sabbath album cover and you didn't like the album? What the fuck is wrong? If you enjoyed the video, may you please... I gotta get out of that habit, bro. If you enjoyed the video, you know what to do. Without further ado, we're out.